Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to a report by Lianhe Xiaobao, United States military officials announced on Thursday that the U.S. military targeted approximately 90 Iranian military sites in its latest round of airstrikes on July 8th. The hit targets included air defense systems, missiles, drone storage facilities, and various other installations. The U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, released a statement on social media explaining that this new wave of attacks was executed to further degrade Iran's capabilities to launch hostile operations against commercial vessels and civilian crews in the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. Additionally, CENTCOM revealed that on Tuesday, July 7, American forces hit around 80 other Iranian targets, including more than 60 fast attack craft operated by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC. This action was intended to force Iran to pay a heavy price for violating ceasefire agreements and launching assaults on 3 merchant ships navigating the Strait of Hormuz. According to Al Jazeera, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has downgraded its 2026 global growth forecast to 3%, down from April's projection of 3.1%. This second cut of the year is primarily attributed to the lingering energy shock caused by the U.S.-Israel war on Iran, while technology-driven investments in AI demand have partially cushioned the decline. Escalating Middle East tensions continue to threaten economic stability. The IMF report highlights a significant reduction in shipping traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, which previously handled a fifth of global oil and LNG trade. Verified transits have fallen to 41 daily crossings, compared to 130 before the conflict. Following the resumption of U.S. military strikes on Iran and President Donald Trump's declaration that the ceasefire is over, international oil prices have spiked, with Brent crude rising over 7% to nearly $79 a barrel. For 2026, the U.S. is projected to lead major advanced economies with 2.3% GDP growth, while the Eurozone and Japan are forecast to grow by 0.9% and 0.2% respectively. China's economy is expected to expand by 4.6%. U.S. President Donald Trump has officially notified Congress of his intention to rescind Syria's long-standing designation as a state sponsor of terrorism. Secretary of State Marco Rubio described the move as a historic step that follows a significant shift in diplomatic relations between Washington and Damascus since the ousting of Bashar al-Assad in December 2024. Currently, Syria is under an interim government led by Ahmed al-Shara. President Trump, speaking during the NATO summit in Turkey, praised the Syrian leadership and confirmed his intent to proceed with the delisting. According to UPI, the formal notification triggers a 45-day review period. This decision follows a series of steps toward diplomatic normalization, including the lifting of most U.S. sanctions in 2025. Syrian officials have welcomed the announcement, citing the potential for economic recovery and increased financial reintegration. The terrorism designation had previously blocked foreign assistance and restricted trade. This development marks a major change in international policy regarding Syria. Apple has suffered a significant legal setback in Europe, failing in its challenge against the European Union's Gatekeeper regulations. These rules are a core component of the EU's Digital Markets Act, which mandates that the world's largest technology companies must open their closed ecosystems to greater competition. By failing to overturn this designation, Apple is now legally obligated to comply with these strict requirements, which aim to ensure fairer digital markets and prevent large platforms from abusing their dominant positions. This decision marks a major victory for EU regulators seeking to curb the power of big tech. NTD News will continue to follow any potential future developments regarding how Apple intends to adapt its platforms to meet these regulatory demands. According to NHK, corporate bankruptcies in Japan reached a 14-year high in the first half of 2026, continuing an upward trend from the previous year. Data from the credit research firm Teikoku Databank reveals that 5,335 businesses went under between January and June, marking the highest figure since 2012. Each of these companies held debts of at least 10 million yen, approximately $61,500. The service sector experienced the highest number of failures, followed closely by the retail and construction industries. Experts point to inflation as a primary driver, as companies have struggled to cope with and pass on the rising costs of fuel and materials to consumers. Teikoku Databank warns that this wave of bankruptcies is likely to persist into the second half of the year, as businesses brace for higher borrowing costs driven by rising interest rates. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.